Now to the UK, where Keir Starmer's hold on power appears to be slipping away. Cabinet ministers have asked him to set out a timetable for his departure. Despite this, the UK is still trying to reset relations with Brussels and set the agenda abroad. Our EU correspondent, Angela Scudens, spoke to the UK Europe Minister and started by asking him about Downing Street's role in supporting abducted Ukrainian children.
Russia, as I said, has taken tens of thousands of these children, identifying where they are, making sure that we understand where they've gone. They've gone all over Russia, in many cases forcibly adopted, and in some cases taken to camps, indoctrinated, in some cases taught to try and hate where they came from. It's one of the most shocking things I think that I've ever heard of, and that's why today also we are announcing new sanctions on individuals and organisations who are behind this practice, building on the sanctions that we've already introduced.
Tell me a little bit more about the sanctions, as well as that €1.3 million equivalent injection that has been pumped into this fight.
Well, that money comes on top of money that we've already put into some of the pilot tracing programmes and initiatives which are doing this crucially important work on identifying these children and where they've gone. But on top of that, it is about exposing and holding to account those who are responsible. And as I said, that's not just individuals, that's also organisations and locations which have been used for these indoctrination camps and attempts to turn Ukrainian children against their culture and their heritage and their history. And that's what's the most heinous part of this, really, is this not only what's being done to these children directly, but it's that attempt to destroy Ukrainian culture, history, language, and that very much sits at the horrific way in which Putin has prosecuted this war.
Absolutely. Let's look at the recent election over the weekend in Britain. How is the government of Keir Starmer digesting this news, which saw Labor lose quite disastrously in the local election, the council elections, and saw the Reform UK doing quite well?
Well, the Prime Minister set out his response very clearly in her speech this morning. He has accepted responsibility for where there have been significant challenges, particularly in the way that we're communicating with the country, and that people are anxious for change and change to happen faster. But I'm very proud of our record as a government in what we're doing on health, on education, on transport, on bringing children out of poverty, on increasing the minimum wage, on the greatest transformation of workers' rights in a generation, our investments in renewable energy, our new police on the streets, and we all have a job to do to communicate that more clearly and to provide hope and optimism about the future in what is a very, very difficult time. And what he was acknowledging absolutely this morning is that people are still feeling the pinch in their pocket. They're seeing conflict around the world. They're seeing pressure on energy prices. And we as a government have to be seen to be responding to that. And we are, and we will continue to do so.
But he's also made it quite a big, strong point of his policy platform to reset relations between the UK and the EU. Does the results at the ballot box suggest that perhaps Britons don't actually want this?
Well, he set out very clearly this morning that, a lot of the things that were told us about Brexit by Nigel Farage and Reform were simply not true. He said it would make us richer. It hasn't. He said it would bring down migration. In fact, migration had gone up, although we're taking significant steps to reduce irregular migration. And of course, he made a load of other false promises about the so-called sunny uplands that would come, and that hasn't been the case. So the Prime Minister has set out very clearly we need to be working closely with our European partners on the economy, on security, on defence, and internationally in what is a very turbulent world. And that's exactly what we will be doing in the run-up to the next UK-EU summit, and what we're trying to achieve through our agreements on agriculture and food, on energy, on a youth experience scheme. That's what he set out this morning. It's what we're all working towards.
Do you have a date for that summit?
We don't have a fixed date yet, but it will be this summer, and we're working on an ambitious agenda.